The golden morning sun cast a brilliant, warm glow over the docks of Fantasy Island as the white seaplane gently coasted to a halt against the wooden pier. Mr. Rourke stood at the forefront, his immaculate white suit mirroring the tropical splendor around him, while beside him stood his enthusiastic assistant, looking out at the arriving passengers with wide, curious eyes. Mr. Rourke turned to his companion and said, "Good morning, class." "Good morning, Tattoo." Smiles, everyone. Smiles. Tattoo shielded his eyes from the glare, staring at a particularly striking woman stepping onto the platform, and said, "Wow, boss, who is the dish?" Mr. Rourke smiled faintly at the term and replied, "Dish? The lady is Miss Linda Whitney. She works for Fresh Magic Cosmetics." Tattoo looked over her professional attire, wondering aloud, "Is she a model?" Mr. Rourke shook his head, explaining her background. "She is a secretary." "What is her fantasy?" "Miss Whitney is tired of the injustices her occupation often forces her to endure. Her fantasy is to become the boss." Tattoo nodded understandingly, muttering, "I know the feeling." Mr. Rourke glanced down at him, offering a gentle piece of wisdom, "Then perhaps you, too, have something to learn." As the other guests began to file past them toward the main estate, Tattoo pointed toward a man whose expression remained dark and troubled despite the paradise surrounding them, and remarked, "That guy don't look too happy." Mr. Rourke sighed softly, watching the man descend the steps. "He has reason not to be, Tattoo. That is Mr. Jesse Morrow. And the lady is his wife, Kathy." Tattoo watched the woman, who was smiling brightly and admiring the palm trees, and said, "She looks happy enough." Mr. Rourke explained the delicate situation. "Yes, Mrs. Morrow thinks they are on vacation. Her husband loves her too much to tell her the real reason they are here." Tattoo felt a sudden chill in the warm air and whispered, "Sounds scary." Mr. Rourke looked toward the horizon, his voice carrying a heavy weight. "It is more than scary, my friend. Mr. Morrow is a victim of a recurring and terrifying dream. His fantasy is to be rid of his nightmare forever." Tattoo leaned closer, curious yet hesitant. "What does he dream?" Mr. Rourke spoke the grim truth quietly, that he murders his wife. A short while later, the guests gathered in the elegant courtyard where tropical flowers bloomed in abundance. Mr. Rourke stepped forward to greet them collectively, raising his hands in a warm gesture of hospitality. "My dear guests, I am Mr. Rourke, your host. Welcome to Fantasy Island." The resort staff immediately began escorting the guests to their respective quarters, allowing the primary participants of the day to prepare for the extraordinary events about to unfold. In a private, beautifully appointed veranda overlooking the azure sea, Mr. Rourke sat across from Linda Whitney, reviewing a vibrant advertising portfolio spread out on the table. He nodded approvingly and said, "This Fresh Magic Cosmetics ad is excellent, Miss Whitney, excellent." Linda let out a long, weary sigh, though her eyes remained sharp. "Thank you. My boss got a raise and a promotion for that ad." Mr. Rourke looked up from the papers, questioning her, "But you told me that you did the ad." Linda leaned forward, the frustration of 15 long years finally spilling over. "That is just it, I did. Mr. Rourke, I have been a secretary with Fresh Magic Cosmetics for 15 years now. I know that company inside and out. I have got great ideas, great ones. But do I get the credit? No. Do I get a promotion? No. Do I get overexcited? You bet." Mr. Rourke listened patiently, validating her drive. "I admire your enthusiasm, Miss Whitney. And I believe we can do something to relieve your frustration. Do you think you could prove your ability in, say, 2 days?" Linda did not hesitate for a single second, responding instantly, "Absolutely." Mr. Rourke smiled at her determination. "Now I admire your confidence. How does Vice President in charge of advertising and publicity sound to you, huh?" Linda blinked, stunned by the grandiosity of the title. Too good to be true. "How?" Mr. Rourke leaned back, revealing his connections. "The president of the conglomerate that owns Fresh Magic Cosmetics is an old and dear friend of mine. I told him about your fantasy and he has agreed to let you demonstrate what you can do." Linda felt a massive weight lift from her shoulders, asking for confirmation. "You mean I do not have to type anymore or take dictation or smile?" Mr. Rourke assured her with absolute certainty, "Of course not. You are an executive now. Linda stood up, her posture changing as she embraced her new reality. That is right. I am going to be great. I will be decisive but fair. I will be tough but gentle. I will be Cree. Suddenly, the reality of the timeline hit her, and she paused, looking at him with sudden anxiety. I only have 2 days to prove myself. Mr. Rourke confirmed calmly, 2 days. To make you feel more at home, we have moved your office to Fantasy Island. Good luck, Miss Whitney. Linda walked into her newly established executive office on the island, marveling at the mahogany desk and the panoramic ocean view. Before she could fully settle in, a bright and supportive colleague entered with a folder, calling out, Linda, I just heard about your promotion. Congratulations. Linda smiled genuinely, feeling the first real taste of executive respect. Oh, thanks, Terry. Seeking to establish her new authoritative routine, Linda looked toward another staff member who had entered, and said, Mr. Troy, I need you to go over these layouts. You have a meeting at 4. As Terry and Mr. Troy stepped aside, a sharp, cynical voice interrupted the momentary triumph. Roxanne, an ambitious and highly competitive colleague from the Home Office who had also been brought into the fantasy environment, sauntered into the room with a smirk. Well. You finally made it out of the typing pool. Linda kept her composure, responding coolly, Hi, Roxanne. Roxanne crossed her arms, her jealousy completely transparent. Why you and not me? That is what I would like to know. Linda answered honestly, rooted in her long service. Well, I have been at Fresh Magic a long time. Roxanne scoffed, adjusting her hair. True. I keep forgetting our age difference. Well, congrats. Hey. I just hope you can handle it. Linda looked around at the pristine but empty space, noting, a desk would help. Roxanne pointed toward a large, beautiful inner office. Follow me. It is all yours. As Linda walked in, she noticed a decorative glass partition that bore temporary lettering. Roxanne laughed mockingly. Don't get too hysterical. That lettering washes off with water. Linda turned around, her determination hardening into absolute stone as she looked Roxanne straight in the eye and said, Roxanne, in a couple of days, it will be carved in stone. Meanwhile, in one of the luxurious private villas nestled deep within the island's lush gardens, Mr. Rourke knocked gently and stepped inside. Kathy Moreau was sitting by the window, looking out at the beautiful scenery, but her face showed a slight tinge of worry. She looked up and said, Oh, Mr. Rourke, please come in. Mr. Rourke bowed his head politely, looking around the quiet room. Thank you, Miss Moreau. I was expecting your husband to stop by my office. Is he here? Kathy gestured toward the adjoining bedroom, her voice dropping to a whisper. Believe it or not, he is taking a nap. He has not been sleeping very well the past couple of weeks. Mr. Rourke nodded understandingly. Yes, he did mention that difficulty to me when he made arrangements for your visit. Kathy sighed, looking frustrated. Oh, did he? Yes. Well, you know, he won't even discuss it with me. Suddenly, from the bedroom, a sharp, panicked cry rang out, shattering the afternoon silence. Jesse Moreau burst through the door, his eyes wide with lingering terror, sweating profusely as he shouted, Jesse. Kathy. Now. Kathy immediately rushed to his side, wrapping her arms around him to soothe his trembling frame. Oh, Jesse. Oh, Jesse, darling. You are awake now. It is okay. Mr. Rourke stepped forward, his tone turning serious and filled with profound concern for the couple. Perhaps it is time you told your wife the truth, Mr. Moreau. Jesse collapsed into a nearby chair, burying his face in his hands before looking up at his beautiful wife. I don't have a lot of bad dreams, Kathy. I just have one. I keep dreaming over and over again that I am trying to kill you. Kathy gasped slightly, but her deep love for him immediately overrode any fear, and she knelt beside him. Oh, darling. Well, that is just a silly dream. Mr. Rourke intervened, knowing that confronting the root of the trauma was the only way to heal it. Unfortunately, it is more than that, Mrs. Moreau. Your husband's grandfather and great-grandfather also had such dreams. And each resulted in tragedy. Kathy looked up at Mr. Rourke, her breath catching in her throat. You don't mean that they... Mr. Rourke revealed the chilling historical pattern. At exactly 1 minute past midnight on their 50th birthdays, Each of your husband's ancestors murdered their wives. Kathy stood up, her hands shaking. Oh, my God. Jesse looked at her, his eyes pleading for understanding. Try to understand, Kathy, that tomorrow is my birthday. Kathy shook her head, trying desperately to rationalize the situation through her fears. Oh, darling. Well, it is still just a dream. I mean, it is a coincidence. Jesse, your mother is still alive. Jesse shook his head in deep sorrow, corrected her memory. My father was killed in an automobile accident when he was 38. Don't you remember? Kathy took both of his hands, looking directly into his eyes with absolute devotion and an unshakable faith in their bond. Jesse. Jesse. You love me, and I love you. Why, that is stronger than any family curse or whatever you think this is. Jesse looked away, his voice breaking under the immense weight of the psychological torment. I used to think that way, but my nightmare is so real that I can't take the chance, Kathy. It was the wives that were murdered. If I divorce Kathy today, she would be safe. He turned to the host, seeking a bureaucratic escape from fate. Now, you can help us out, Mr. Rourke. Mr. Rourke shook his head slowly, rejecting the easy but empty solution. You know as well as I do there is much, much more to marriage than mere words on a paper or the subterfuge of a convenient divorce, Mr. Morrow. Jesse looked up, completely helpless. Then what can we do? Mr. Rourke stepped closer, explaining the nature of the fantasy he had prepared for them. Your problem originated in a country house just outside Marseilles, where your ancestors lived. I am afraid, Mr. Morrow, to reach the end you desire, it will be necessary to start at the beginning. Jesse frowned, trying to comprehend. You mean you want us to go to that house in France? Mr. Rourke gestured toward the door leading out into the deeper, ancient forests of the property. No, no. Here on Fantasy Island. The house will exist exactly as it was in the past, but only for the duration of your fantasy. When you are ready, all you have to do is go through that door and follow the pathway to find it. Jesse looked at his wife, then back at the host. Is this the only way, Mr. Rourke? Mr. Rourke nodded with total conviction. I assure you it is. I must also warn you, the only weapon you take with you is your love for each other. Guard it well, Mr. and Mrs. Morrow. Back in the bustling corporate environment of the modified island office, Linda Whitney was experiencing the true, chaotic reality of being at the top. The telephone lines were ringing constantly. She grabbed one receiver, speaking rapidly. Hello? Yes, I am looking at them right now. They are much improved and I love it. You bet. Could you hold on a sec? Thank you. She pressed a button to switch lines, answering another urgent call. Hello? Yes, Mr. Norton. May I call you back? Thank you. Hold on. She waved at an assistant who was waiting for her signature. David, thank you very much. Turning to Roxanne, who was watching her struggle with a smug expression, Linda pleaded, Roxanne, I have got to have a secretary, please. Could you tell personnel to speed it up a little bit? Thank you. As she slammed the phone down, she rubbed her temples in exhaustion, wondering aloud how classic Hollywood executives made it look so effortless. How did Rosalind Russell do it? Just then, Ed Turner, her former boss and a man notorious for his patronizing attitude toward female colleagues, walked into the office. He had an arrogant grin on his face as he sauntered toward her desk. Linda, sweetheart, I heard about your promotion. I want you to know I am absolutely ticked. I know I have lost the best secretary a guy could ever have, but, hey, this way we can visit in the executive washroom, huh? Hey, your sink or mine, huh? How much are they paying you? Linda sat up straight, refusing to let him diminish her newfound status. That is none of your business, Mr. Turner. Ed smirked, waving his hand. I mean Ed. Linda looked at him coldly. That little, huh? I have got a lot of work to do. Ed chuckled, tapping his fingers on her desk. Temper. You have no reason to be mad at me. When I heard about your promotion, I was just playing. Tickled. Right. Linda sighed heavily. Do you know why? Ed laughed. You lost your mind. Funny. Now, I think you are going to prove a theory of mine right. Linda leaned back, challenging him. Really? Ed crossed his arms, leaning against the doorframe as he spilled his chauvinistic worldview. Yes. Well, basically, It is that a woman just can't cut it as an executive. Linda raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Ed continued, completely oblivious to his own arrogance. Well, I mean, you ladies are good for one or two things. Like thinking up ideas that our boss takes the credit for. Like falling on your cute little. Linda cut him off sharply, her voice icy. Busy, Ed. I am very busy. Ed held up his hands defensively, but the smirk never left his face. That is all right. I was just leaving. It is all right. I just wanted to let you know that I know all about this. This whole setup is just temporary. You have got only 2 days to prove yourself. Linda glared at him. So? Ed leaned in closer, delivering his final patronizing blow. So I am holding your job open for you. You are going to need it. Linda felt a surge of anger, muttering under her breath, You know something, Ed? Before the confrontation could escalate, a polite knock sounded at the open door. Linda composed herself and called out, Come in. A tall, well-dressed, and professional young man stepped into the office, holding a notepad. Miss Whitney? Linda nodded, yes. The young man introduced himself with an easy, confident smile. I am Jack Friday, your new secretary. Ed Turner let out a loud, mocking laugh from the doorway, looking between Linda and the new arrival. Some secretary, her, sweetheart? Tick, tock,